full back, I really like to take my time, not be in any hurry. It can feel really nice to just tilt those hips a little bit and open up the low back. And as I press on the sacrum, just being sure that I don't press any bony structures. They're gonna be painful. A lateral stretch can feel really good too. Also landing on that glute medius and just deciding if I want to do work in the glutes. Usually a good idea. We're doing full back. It's wild how much tension we tend to carry in our glutes. And also just trying to make some type of a plan so that my massage doesn't feel choppy. I think we will do glutes. And instead of just walking around the table, do one more stretch. And I'm also just kind of planning in my head what kind of a warm-up I want to do for the whole back and how I can tie it all together without it feeling awkward or choppy. Working on this glute medius. This can be really good for the hip joints and also the vertebrae of the spine. Gentle rocking. Especially on people that I have worked on before, if they really like deep tissue in the glutes, I won't really take that much time with a soft fist. I'll move pretty quickly into working with my elbow. But because this is the beginning of the massage, I'm still trying to ease into anything that's too deep. And just continuing with warming up the rest of the back. Walking my way up these erector spinae. I'll usually spend at least 5 minutes with a warm-up for the back before grabbing my wheel. And when when I do go to grab my oil, it's a chance for me to check in with myself and see if I'm practicing good body mechanics or not. Like if I'm just, rounded shoulders walking over to get my oil, that's not a good sign. So just those little pauses are a chance to check in with yourself. Make sure you're working in a healthy way. And more than just rounding your back when you're working, you want to be in the habit of hinging at your hips. So keeping your spine nice and long and working from your core really helps with endurance and feeling good as you're doing massage. I focus a good bit on ending that effleurage stroke in the neck when I'm doing a full back massage, because I just like having that whole body focus. I think it feels a lot better than stopping short of the neck. You also don't have to bring that effleurage stroke into the neck every time. Sometimes I will do little micro effleurage strokes down the back. Especially in the shoulders. Trying to apply a lot of pressure on your upward stroke along the erector spinae is really difficult and unnatural. So just really relaxing on the way up. It feels a lot better if you finish that effleurage stroke over the hip bones. It's more satisfying. And it's really good for the connective tissue around the hip bones. It kind of stretches everything out. Focusing on the erector spinae more at the beginning, and then I'll usually transition into the lats. At some point in the massage, I do always like to wrap my hands around these hip bones, sinking into that connective tissue that can get thick and rubbery and pretty congested. Just opening up some of this, freeing up the hips a bit in the low back. You can also, if you're picking up on a lot of congestion in here, you can actually just stay here for a little longer. Offer a little bit more. Just learning how to stay in flow, no matter how spontaneous your movements might be, just depending on what you find. So since I decided to come down here and work around the hips, I don't want to just come back to the upper back. Find a more creative, graceful way to move through the massage. And sometimes when you're working on a smaller framed person, as you land on these erector spinae, it can feel better to use the heel of your hands. And just open up those 3 erector spinae muscles, creating some space. So depending on what you find here, you can continue up the back or you can move back down. So I think I'll continue, do a little more lat work before I work my way up into the traps. And I was thinking at the beginning of the massage when we were working on that medius that I wanted to revisit. So now would be the time for that. Working on the erector spinae and the lats. And if you are working with a bigger tool like your forearm, a really easy way to not lose contact is just to keep that left arm on the body. Find that the glute medius responds really well to repetitive visits. Just spending a little more time here. And at this point, I feel more comfortable offering more pressure more quickly because we did a pretty good warm up in here earlier. I will definitely revisit the glute medius if I'm picking up on extra stickiness in here around the hip, or if the QL seems tight, even a little swollen. I might work in here to relieve some of the pressure in the low back. So pretty constantly just thinking about how I can tie my current move into the next and have it feel natural and good. Finally, working my way up the back. Focusing on lengthening these erector spinae muscles. And I'm going to start to fan out my forearm a little bit more, just to shift focus to the traps. working my way into that upper trap. I've spent quite a bit of time hunched over, so again, like periodically I'll just stand up and kind of check in with my body mechanics, make sure I'm working in a healthy way. And I do want to work on this levator scapula. Because we didn't really do a warm up for this area, I'm just going to take my time. Using a good bit of my forearm, nice broad surface area. And just gradually starting to work deeper. Making sure that I'm not pulling Michelle's hair. This is a really touchy spot for that. It can feel really not very good. Using a good bit of finesse here. I'm not just trying to poke around. And sometimes you'll just get the sense that like the area just opens up and kind of relaxes. And that's a really positive moment to move on to something else. I do really like to spend some time with the upper traps after that levator scap work. I really like to focus on where it narrows into the neck. So this neck work is very much for the upper back. Something that I like to include with most full back massages, I like to work the connective tissue around the spine. It usually feels amazing, and it is so good for spinal health in general. Just stack my hands, and this is a perfect time to do it as well because the oil's absorbed, so it's more of a myofascial sensation at this point, working that connective tissue, not just sliding over it, really stretching it all out. You can do longer, slower movements. You can do quicker, shorter ones. It's really up to you and what feels right. This is a great technique to end with, or you can do some more effleurage. You can do another stretch for the back. Can feel really good to end with something a little more still. I do like to end with a good stretch for the spine and the lower back. And that is all for today.